15 things you can do to AI-proof your life. You heard the clips, you saw the articles. Today I'm giving you 15 different ways you can protect yourself and make sure you are not in that bottom 90% who's technically vulnerable. Yeah, 50% of jobs might get wiped out, but which 50? You know, you don't really know. You might be in the top 80 percentile, but somehow you're a specialist and you get wiped out. Whereas someone, maybe they are a plumber, or maybe they are a cleaner, or maybe they're some sort of design architect, and they're safe. You never know. We don't know. This has become a very unpredictable time. So we want to make sure that we're in that top 10%, doing the right things, skilling up accordingly. Let's get going here. Number one, become the orchestrator, not the operator, okay? The people who get replaced are the ones doing that repetitive execution. The ones who survive direct the work. So if you do an SOP, if you follow an SOP every day, you are prime for being replaced. Anything that can be written down as a list, high risk. The person who designs the SOP, much more protected in the long run. They're more of an architect of design of operation. Very important. Number two, make sure you build relationships. Wherever you go, relationships keep you AI and recession proof, not just skilling up. Some people are skilling up at home. They think they're doing all the right things. They have zero network. You have to be careful. Okay, skills, depending on which ones they are, we don't always know, but they can be commoditized. Clients, people, when they trust you, when they rely on you to solve problems, you aren't going to be replaced by a single tool or a suite of tools. You want to be the one that they are looking at you as the go-to person, and they don't care if you use AI. As long as you're getting jobs done, they're going to let you handle that. And if you're doing it right, you probably can handle it 10 times faster than you used to, but you still need to maintain those client relationships. Number three, start stacking your skills horizontally, right? Specialists are easier to automate right now than generalists who connect the dots across different domains. When you are narrow and stacking vertically, you are a specialist. When you are horizontal, you're more of a generalist. I was talking last week on the show how I'm doing marketing for 5, 6, 7 years, but now I'm doing sales. Now I'm doing HR. Now I'm doing customer service, or at least I'm capable in those areas. That's why we like people to become full stack marketers. We don't teach you to be a video editor. We don't teach you to be a copywriter. We don't teach you to be a meta ad specialist. We teach you to be good, if not great at all of them. And now that AI is here to support you, there's no reason why you can't be great at all of them. A lot of these gaps have been closed, and there's no real excuse for being subpar, especially if you want to be top 1%. If you want to have an extraordinary life, you're going to have to push yourself, but this is going to make you much harder to replace versus someone who's just doing SEO or just editing videos for YouTube or just designing websites. Like, you got to get out of that mentality. Number four, this is a leverage principle. Build income you control, right? You don't want to be a W-2 employee for the next 10 years. You're at high risk. One boss, one decision maker, they can fire you. If you have more of a client-based life right now, 3, 5, 7 clients, no one single decision wipes you out. And sometimes they don't want to lay you off or fire you. It's just a matter of circumstances, costs, realities of the way the world is going. And even business could be going out of business, right? We can't say for sure, but you need to, what we would say, distribute your risk a little bit. And you can do that by having multiple income sources. And look, if you don't do clients, or you don't want to just do clients, that's fine. Why don't you have a digital product? Why don't you have a YouTube channel? Why don't you sell some eBooks? Why don't you get a job at the school? Why don't you become a part-time advisor at some other local company? Like, you can do different things to build income sources. It doesn't just have to be clients. All right, number 5, pretty obvious one, right? Learn to prompt and direct AI, okay? You got to do this. You got to spend time on it every night. I'm spending time. I'm creating new prompts. I'm building tools with prompts. I'm saving prompts. I'm improving prompts. I'm actively doing this on a daily basis. I think it's very important. Don't learn how to code. Learn how to use AI to code for you, right? Use AI as a force multiplier, as leverage to go faster and save you time. The gap between people who use AI well and the people who don't use it, it's widening, right? Some people are going to be left behind and they're going to wonder what happened. They're not even paying attention. Some people are still crying about how much water, the GPU used to cool the water down, right? Or cool the servers down or whatnot, cool the processors down. Like, hey, I hear that, but there's other issues for us as individuals to worry about, and we don't want to create some sort of narrative for ourselves like, oh, I'm going to become anti-AI. Not a great idea. Okay, this is a big one. This is a really big one. You really want to be selling more of an outcome. You don't want to be pricing by the hour. What good is it to price by the hour? Because people are going to start realizing that, well, how do I know what you did for an hour? And if you use a full hour, couldn't you do a lot more? Like, if I'm paying you by the hour, I want you to run the prompt 50 times. Like, how fast can you click the buttons? It's more important that you think about outcomes. And if you're currently selling hours or time, like, AI is making that time worth less. And people aren't going to be trustworthy that people are actually doing hours. They're going to be like, well, you probably used AI and you saved a lot of time and then you took half an hour off. I'm not really getting an hour. But in the end, what's going to happen is people will only care about outcomes. They'll only care about results. And it doesn't mean results in a money sense. It just means the job is done. If you can get the job done in 5 minutes, I don't care. Go on with your day, right? And that's why the request model with the OPMA is very powerful, because someone's going to make a request. They're not going to make 3 requests in one day. They're going to make 1 request at a time. If it takes you 10 minutes, great. If it takes you 2 hours, so be it. Maybe it's not an AI process, but if you got it done, that's the most important thing. This is a very nuanced one, but it's important. And that's moving towards judgment work, not so much task work. This is an overarching idea that you want to think about. Tasks, that's what gets automated. Task has an SOP, a guide. Anyone can do it. We see Claude Cowork coming out. We see ChatGPT Codex. We see OpenClaw. We have Claude Code. We have these agentic tools that can follow instructions, see the screen. They're going to be doing that, but they lack judgment. And they also don't always know what to do when something's wrong or something's changed. And judgment can also be about design and quality and brand and style and aesthetic and what's cool, right? AI doesn't always know what that is. And so if you're able to make good judgment, great. And so maybe spend a bit more time in trends, spend a bit more time, reading cool magazines, looking at art, what's happening at the edge of the artistic world, what's cool. This is something to think about. All right, number 8. Hey, this is a tough one for people, but you might want to build an audience now before you need one, right? Sometimes we kind of flip-flop over whether this is something we should do, right? Like, it is what it is, and I'm here doing it too. I'm sacrificing the time. I'm putting together the show. I'm delivering something for I have no idea who's out there watching right now, but I'm here and I'm trying to be consistent, and that's how you do it, right? People get to know you as that person who puts out that particular type of media or content. So content kind of becomes a bit of a safety net, right? If your job was gone, like, you're fully in control of your content. If you're doing it on the side, you could do 5 times as much if you no longer had an 8-hour shift to go to or whatnot. Content also means there's people out there that you can reach. Like we said earlier, relationships. So that's really a pretty strong argument for getting going. And look, if you want to start faceless for a while, go for it. But I find that, it's important to really get over your fears and to be weird and to be funny looking and to sound funny and to have quirks. Like, think about the mistake I made earlier in the live show. I mean, it's like, should I quit? Should I give up? Like, it's going to happen to everybody. We're all one-person shows. At least when we start out, it's going to happen. You're going to make mistakes, right? Here's a good one. Create recurring revenue structures. One-time projects, fragile. Retainers and subscriptions create predictable cash flow that can survive the turbulence of the market. Predictability feels good. It enhances your survivability. If we never know what's going to happen day to day, we feel stressed. We start making radical decisions. We don't stay consistent. We feel afraid. Predictability helps that. I kind of mentioned this one earlier, but it's kind of a different version. But develop taste. Taste. This is something AI does not replicate well. AI is good for volume, but humans curate taste. What is cool? What's good? And if you can look at 10 different AI outputs, you might have the ability to determine which of those is the best. Instead of just putting out the sloppiest one, it's like, yeah, that actually works. Whether a human or AI wrote that, that's actually pretty cool. I think taste is something underrated, and I think a lot of people lack taste. At least that's what I see. And I think the more you've grown up in the West, the more taste you have, because taste is kind of a luxury. Like, brand is kind of a luxury. If you go to the East, China, Southeast Asia, India, they don't have as much access to taste. There's less economy there. That it's more about mass volume. There may be lower incomes. There's no ability to access taste. Maybe the media was different, and maybe it's a byproduct of materialism. I don't know, but if our jobs are gone to AI, but we still have taste, I can promise you there's something you can do with that. And when people hire you, whether it's for client work or a job, they're going to want to know that you have taste. They might know, hey, we're going to use AI for these processes, but you need to make sure that we don't look dumb. And I think that's one of the most important things in marketing is that if you're touching media, if you edit someone's videos, if you edit their podcast, don't make them look dumb. Make them look cool. It's so important. Number 11 on the AI proof list is stay close to revenue. The further you are away from the money in any type of organization, the more expendable you become. That's why marketers, salespeople, and strategists who directly influence revenue, they're the last to go. We are impacting the revenue. We drive sales. Very hard to say, you know what? Let's just not have those people anymore. Right? But even you're in accounting, you're in legal, you're in human resources, you're in delivering products, you're down the line, you're more at risk. Number 12, it's important to build great systems, not just services. And this is about systemizing how you are delivering to people, whether it's your own internal processes, your templates, your frameworks. These help you save time and ultimately become scalable. And scalability means more income or more time, more capability. And people who do this, they don't get replaced. They get promoted. If you're the one designing those SOPs, those frameworks and templates, you are a key player. And then whether it goes to an agent, a VA, an employee, they are the ones just receiving that power from those resources. Invest in proof of work. Now that everybody can do so much, the more proof of work you have, the better. We're talking about case studies, documenting your work and your results, testimonials, public track records. reviews. The world is going to be flooded with AI generated credentials and claims. And so we want verified proof of results or outcomes. This will help you become a differentiator. All right, number 14. If you're building your own business, treat AI like your first hire, not your replacement. Reframe the threat. Be the one using AI, not the one replaced by it. So every freelancer, every one-person marketing agency operator, you should be thinking, how does AI let me serve my clients better, faster? Not how is AI coming to get me? Reframe, start utilizing. That comes back to practicing, developing skills around AI. Last one, went through them pretty quick. Number 15, move faster. Don't get comfortable, okay? The people who get caught up in this are the ones who are sitting around waiting. Comfort is your real threat. If you're not actively learning, adapting, and experimenting right now, you are technically falling behind. There are young people, there are action takers who are building applications, building entire marketing campaigns in a day, training agents, and they may not be perfect, but give them another year. Then where will they be? If I've already created 5 different applications, where will I be in 2 years? Probably at 50. And you might just be getting going on your first 1 or 2. And that's why that gap widens. All right, I hope you enjoyed my 15 tactical 5D life chess moves to stay AI proof. And you know, we brought it up. I forget what number was it. Number 8, build an audience. Look, if you want to start creating content, which I know can be hard, but it's important. It's time consuming, but I've done something that's really useful that I'm using that I finally like. I was hesitating around this area for a long time, but it's using AI to generate ideas, to generate drafts, to do the work you don't want to do, to maybe frame out a script. The key to it all is that it sounds like you. And not only that it sounds like you, but you stay consistent. And so you want to build a system around yourself to get AI outputs that serve you in this area. So if you check in the link in the description, I've got my link to my brand voice and consistency toolkit. It's 5 prompts that will really help you. I spent the time on it. It takes about an hour and a half to get going. You interview yourself for about 30 to 40 minutes. You grab some of the work you've already done in the past. You build out a voice document. You also spend a little bit of time on who you serve, what you do, doesn't matter what it is. You spend a little time about who you want to work with, who's your ideal client, and you give it a little bit more information maybe about how often you can work on stuff, like what are your constraints. I gave it like a screenshot of my calendar. It built me this perfect content calendar for 90 minutes a day. If I just stick to it, I get my live stream, I get a YouTube video, I get my email newsletter, I get 2 Instagram posts. So go get it, it's free. And then if you want the entire prompt kit, there's about 44 prompts. And if you want to spend some time with me learning AI and all these things, I do live streams on Wednesdays and Fridays for members only. You can go to richux.com and you can sign up for OPMA AI. It's not just for marketers, it's very valuable for everybody. I've demoed how to build apps. I've demoed the content creation. I've talked about building websites. There's going to be much more to cover. We're just getting going. The price is still pretty reasonable for what you get. You're going to get access to community, people who are really serious about building in the AI world. And really, this is the pathway to becoming a 100x human. For us, we're mostly marketers, but no matter what, you need to future-proof your life and protect your livelihood. Things are getting crazy out there. It's happening fast. It's hard to keep up. Build relationships, build a network, build skills all in one place. I'll take care of you. If you like what I'm doing here, You'll definitely like being a part of that and being closer to me and all the other people who are getting pretty serious about AI. Well, thank you for joining me on those 15 topics. Going to go check out what's going on in the chat. I see you guys have calmed down a little bit. Never seen such intensive engagement. I thought you guys were loving the content. I can't see the chat really easily yet when I have something I'm working on. So I couldn't tell that you guys were going crazy in the chat about you can't hear me. But I love the engagement. It's the highest engagement of all time in this live stream. Most chats per minute. It probably skyrocketed our algorithmic awareness. So, question of the day: if AI replaces 50% of jobs, not just in America, that was a bad hook, but in the world, are you at least in the half that survives? Put a 1 in the chat if you're going to survive. Or if you feel scared shitless and you're worried about yourself, you better put a 2 if you think you're not going to survive. If you put a 2, we'll save you. We'll keep you from drowning. I love how like 20 different people said there's no sound, as if, you know, the other people hadn't already said it. You thought, if I add my voice to this, maybe he'll hear it. It wasn't until Alex called me that I was like, why is he calling me? Oh, I know why. There must be a problem with the stream. By the way, it's absolutely pissing rain outside. I don't know if you guys can hear the rain. I have a metal roof. It's like so loud for me. Try to hopefully keep that noise cancellation on. This is a pretty good mic. It typically doesn't get up the rain, but what questions do you guys have for me today? What can I help you with? Question just a comment. Could also use AI just for the outline and come up with the actual talking points using that thing between your ears. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that, but I find that, well, I think talking points, there's two sides to talking points. You could say you could bullet it out, but research, man, it's so loud in here. The research and the depth of the generative AI, typically very, very useful. From Spain, welcome. Let's get some 1s in the chat so I know you guys are going to survive. Congrats to the top fans, Rusty, Alex, Matt, Top Shatters. Good for you guys. But I mean, I hear you, Josh. Of course, some of us are wanting to keep the true essence alive. But I do think that, you know, we can look at it in an interesting way. All knowledge work, you know, everything we think of, is it truly original? Is it truly coming from some essence within us? I'm not sure. It's hard to say, right? And so maybe AI is really just a reflection of all intelligence, all knowledge, and it's just sort of seeding what would have eventually come out in a faster way. It's going to be a philosophical thing, and your voice represents a huge percentage of people who they don't want this to happen. Look, I'm ultimately of that thought too. If I could shut down all the AI tools, I would. If I could do that, but I cannot do that. So I accept that this is a foregone conclusion. And here's the thing, Josh, if you use the brand voice kit I gave, there's a lot of room. It's not just your tone. It's like, what are the things you already talk about? And so really, a lot of times, the prompting will just bring that back to the surface, and it will connect that to different ideas. It's not like you're just saying, oh, I talk very direct and blunt and I'm aggressive or whatever, and then it writes you something. That's why I like this more than what I used to feel, because I've spent the time to develop more intensive prompts, and I feel that a tool like Claude Opus 4.6, the leading model in my opinion, it's so much better, and it can bring out your essence a lot more. It's not stuck like ChatGPT was, where it's like constantly putting in the M dash, constantly saying it's not this, it's that. So give it a shot. I hear what you're saying, but like I said, it's sort of it is what it is moment, and we're not going to be able to shut down AI. I remember Elon Musk 6 to 12 months ago was saying, oh, we got to do this and that. We got to stop this. We got to protect this. We got to prevent these things from happening. And then nothing happened. Nobody did anything about it. And then it's, oh, war is starting, and we use these tools for war now too. It's not going away. It will be interesting if the price changes. It will be interesting if better models come out and are not given to the public. But it's almost like the tools that we're given were good enough to replace us. And when I say us, I just mean general humans. I don't mean us 100x marketers and full stack marketers and OPMA. I just mean the population at large. It's like we have to put out the models so that 10% of humans can automate away the other 90%. And it's like either you're the automator or you're the automated. And even if you're a business owner, like if you're not as fast as the next 9 people, like what does that do to you? So there's definitely room for authentic creation. And that's why I like this live format, and that's why I do Q&A. Like I don't put your question into an AI and read the response. I just tell you how I feel about it. So I think like there's a hybrid approach as well. I heard a story on X where this guy was talking to like a successful Stanford graduate, somebody who was very smart, and that person, maybe this was a fake story, but he was saying that that person couldn't finish their sentences. And he's asked, well, what's going on? He says, well, ever since I started using AI, like I can't think as clearly. And so even though I've increased my AI usage extremely, I'm definitely a 1% user, I started reading way more. I started printing things out and reading on paper and working on paper. I'm balancing that out because I actually have more time, technically speaking. So you got to be careful that you're not just an AI button clicker, and you got to be careful when we call ourselves an architect. And, you know, this weekend I was talking with one of my clients who's struggling in this situation. They've got a team of like 6 to 8, and like 2 or 3 people are not skilled enough. They are very vulnerable right now. And we were talking about like, we need to potentially change their role or let them go because they don't have taste. Remember I was saying you got to have taste? They don't have taste. And so if we give them tasks, it's like, well, should we give them tasks or should we automate that? And if we give them tasks, they don't have the taste on top. So the people with taste have to end up doing the work. It's really tricky. It's a tricky time. Norm says, you mentioned to stay close to revenue. To what extent do you think AI could replace marketing and sales? And if so, what should go first? Well, I mean, it's already happening. And I don't know if you've watched my content much or listened to what I've been saying for 2 years, but if you're a specialist, you're at risk. We have tools in every area. I'm creating my own content creation tool right now. And I'm replacing like a low-level content creator or even the jobs that I don't want to do. It's happening. It's going to happen. And that's why the one-person marketing agency was a brilliant thing that we created together. This is the solution, is that Every business needs someone in charge of marketing who's accountable and responsible. Agents don't spin themselves up by themselves. Prompts don't generate themselves. And maybe the future, it is a one-click solution to have a full suite of agents, but are you going to rely your entire business results on that? There's always going to be a human for quite a long time, but it could just be one human. I don't know if you guys follow the story of Anthropic. Let me see if I can pull that link up real quick. I think I had that prepared for today's show, but I didn't get to it. Not seeing it. Let's see here. Anthropic one-person marketing. Yeah, here we go. Medium article, screen share coming up. Let's go split. There we go. So Anthropic is the creator of Claude. And they are a $300 billion company valuation right now. And their growth marketing team was just one person. Now, this could be not true. We should always be skeptical of public relations and narratives. But according to this, it was just one person running all of the marketing. And let's see what it says. When most people think of a major AI company, they picture sprawling teams of engineers and marketers brainstorming campaigns in glass-walled offices. But at Anthropic, the San Fran-based maker of the Claude large language model, the story of its marketing organization is in some ways an illustration of the very future it's trying to sell. That's why I'm not sure if I believe this article. A tiny human team amplified by power of AI. Behind the scenes in marketing, Anthropic embraced a remarkably lean approach. Austin Lau, a growth marketer at the company, describes how he leveraged Claude Code, the startup's internal tooling, to build a full performance marketing stack without any prior programming background. What once took a team of specialists hours or days to build, he said, can now be created by one person with minimal technical expertise. Lau used Claude Code to develop tools that automate repetitive creative tasks, from generating multiple ad variations in design programs like Figma to composing text for Google Ads campaigns. Process that took 30 minutes per ad was reduced to 30 seconds. At a time when analysts estimate that as many as 65% of marketing tasks could ultimately be automated with AI, Anthropic's approach is far from unique. So there you go. It's already happening. But there's going to be this centralized marketer. And that's what I mean, is like this stuff came out in the last year. So if you're active in it right now, you have a chance to be that person, whether you're in-house or you have clients. What would go first? Repetition, basics, drafting that can be edited by a human and made cool. In one of my clients, I write all the drafts. I draft captions, I draft emails, I draft marketing campaigns, and I just use AI. And then I send it to the brand strategist who tweaks it. And that's it. I don't create anything original. I have a brand voice and I send it for human revision. That's going to happen. What do you think about local AI or cloud-based AI? I think local AI is very overrated. It's very slow and the models are not as good. And right now you need to use the absolute best models to get ahead. If you're always looking for local AI, you're going to be struggling with memory. You're going to be struggling with size of the model. It could be specialized, it might work. What I did do is I put a local model on a phone, and I don't use that phone. It's an emergency. I have a solar bank and a phone with a local model on it. So if the world collapses, there's no electricity, I can charge the phone with a solar bank and talk to AI without the internet. That's what I think is valuable about local AI, is in a non-internet world. But the whole point of all these things is that the compute is in the cloud. That is why you get such fast responses and super powerful responses, that if you rely on your own computer to do that, you're going way slower and you're having a less high quality model. Simple as that. Let's get more questions flowing, guys, or else I'm going to call it a show. It's been a great one, but it's so loud with the rain today. It's an absolute thunderstorm out there. Coming to you live from Asunción, Paraguay, the heart of Central America. In your opinion, what are the best ways to find clients? Look, I think I'm going to write a book on just this topic. I have answered this question so many times. This is what everyone wants to know, and I get it. I get it. It's the most important question. It's the most important question. I get it. Let me see if I can bring up a tweet that I really liked, and I might just let that sort of answer instead of myself. But there's this tweet I really liked. I don't think I saved it, but I can probably search for it. Yeah, here it is. Worst ways to get clients in 2026. Cold calling, DM appointment setting, buying leads from Apollo, case study sales pitches, AI generated Loom audits, automated cold email sequences. Wow, that sounds a lot like 2018 to 2021 or so, doesn't it? Best ways to get clients in 2026. Live webinars to showcase your skills. Selling through real conversations. Paid ads into lead magnets. Founder-led hot outreach. I love that, hot outreach. Good word. Upselling existing clients. Strategic partnerships. These are generally good ideas. I like it. Let's add that to the bookmarks. I like it. But I think it's important to understand that when someone calls me on the phone, I assume it's spam. I don't answer. When someone DMs me, and I get a lot of DMs, I don't respond. I leave you on red. I don't even respond. Hey, Rich, seems like you're doing something really cool, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Rich, love what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, it's unoriginal. It's annoying. I don't want to be sold by someone I don't know at all. Like, you have no proof. It's tough. And then you get these people like, Rich, I rewrote your email sequence for you. Or Rich, I redesigned your website for you. And it's like a fake, like, scrolling shot of my website. Like, they just automated that. It has to have the essence of honesty, of connection. It has to be truly value driven. That's why it's called hot outreach. More laser targeted. That can work better. But yeah, I tend to agree with this tweet. So let me answer the question for you from my own angle. What's the best way to find a client? Probably to go to a live event or to go visit them in their actual business and build a relationship. It's so much better to go build 10 relationships over 1 week than to send 1,000 cold emails. It just is what it is. I think creating content is probably going to become more important. Proof of work. But the thing is like, the reason I do it what I do is I don't want to find clients either. Let me tell you my model. I talk to the people I know. I ask them if they want me to help them with marketing. Some of them say yes. Some of them refer me. I work with those people. I do a good job. I over-deliver. I ask for a referral from those people and I move up. I do work that's so good and so useful and solves problems and makes money, people don't want to stop working with me. My 2 main clients I work with right now, one has been with me for 10 months, one has been with me for 2 years. They pay more than enough for me to enjoy my life, and I also have my rich and niche business. If I wasn't moving from Canada to South America in the last year, I'd probably take 1 or 2 more clients. I'm now entering that phase again where my life is a bit more simple. My kids are in school now. I've finished moving. I don't have to go shopping every week with my wife. I don't have to do this stuff with my kids while they're not in school. I have more time now. So I'll probably get more clients, or I'll start helping my students get more clients. I think that's kind of what I want to do, is either partner with my top students, get clients together, or maybe get 1 or 2 on my own. How would I do it? If I had to get a client tomorrow, what would I do? I would laser target 10 people that I really like. Some people call it like the dream list. They wouldn't know me, but I would try to do everything. I would send them something for free. I would call them. I would post on their social media. I would comment on their LinkedIn post. I would just hit them in every aspect so they couldn't ignore me. But they would be able to see who I am when they look into me. They would see, oh, he's been on YouTube recently. He's real. He has an Instagram with hundreds of posts and reviews. He has a nice website with case studies. He's doing all this stuff. He's making apps with Claude. They would be able to see that. I might also apply for a job but turn it into a client and not be a job. I might see who's hiring, or I might go make a role for myself. I might just say, hey, I can really help you. Here's what I see for you. I see you're trying to hire a content creator and a social media manager. What if I cover your whole marketing department? I think it's good to have an ebook, even if it's 5 pages, 10 pages, a PDF. I think that when you write things, you become an authority, because the first 6 letters of authority is author. People have always thought that people who create books have authority. I created this book like 2-3 years ago. It created a lot of authority for me. Took me maybe 2 weeks to create it, maybe a month. Has an audiobook too. You can get it on my website, richux.com, for free. Dylan says, first, Jude says, are most of your clients from Canada? 1 from Canada, 1 from United States. If I was to get more clients, I'd focus on the United States. Do you prefer B2B or B2C? B2B, for making money. B2C is like content. But businesses have 10 to 100 times the spending power of a consumer. A business thinks $3,000 a month is cheap. A consumer thinks $300 a month is expensive. B2C is a different topic. Like, that's not the world we're in. We're B2B. We're actually like C2B. One person to a business. Like, it's B2B. B2C is for products. B2C is for apps. B2C is retail. Marketing is B2B. You don't do marketing for a person. Even if they're an influencer, they're a business. I see you added the context about AI and 100x marketing. It's still B2B. Like, B2C isn't marketing services. That's not really, they don't go together, unless I'm missing what you're actually trying to say. Big G. I'm already ahead of you, Big G. 6D chess. I've been building an incredible tool, but I had to spend the time with the tools to figure out how it works. You can't build a tool with prompts until the prompts are really good. but let's just say I'm working on something pretty cool. But honestly, the Notion method is good. It's free. It's still quite fast. You can use it with Claude or ChatGPT. If you use a back-end tool, you're going to have to pay for AI credits because you're using the API, right? But I'm on to something. We'll release it in a couple of months probably. We got to spend a bit more time on it, but I really think it's solid. Well, I don't see any more questions in the chat. I thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Rich UX Live. If you have any last questions, happy to answer it, but I'm going to be closing down the stream. You need to get on with your day. You need to go skill up. You need to work hard. You need to stay focused. But I'll be here next week. You're working with 2 clients now? Right now, yes, because I just finished moving to South America. But one of my clients has 2 brands. So it's kind of like I work for 3 brands. But I'm making about, well, I don't like to say per se, but it's in the 5 figures. It's more than enough to live in South America. And I was waiting to become a tax-free resident of Paraguay before I get to the next level. Taxes were killing me in Canada. You got business tax, you got personal tax, you got tax on everything you buy. So moving was priority number 1. Becoming a resident of South America, of Paraguay, was priority number 1. Now that that's settled, now that my kids are settled, now that my wife has what she wants, we're going to take it to the next level. I mean, isn't that the dream? Like, do you want to be working all day long? Is that all you want to do? Up to you. I find having clients that pay a lot of money and having fewer and doing great work, exceptional work, is just as good, if not more ideal. I'd rather be doing exceptional work for 3 clients who pay more than for 6 clients who pay less and I can't give them as much. But again, I was saying that my next step is to help the people at Rich and Niche, at the community, who work with me, who learn from me. They are the ones who don't have a YouTube channel. They are the ones who haven't been doing this for 7 years. I can play a role in their life, make a big impact, do very little work, but generate the client opportunities. And that in itself, if I'm able to do that successfully, would create a greater demand to work with me as a marketer. And that's sort of like everyone has to take advantage of their edge. Everyone has to take advantage of where they are in life, your ikigai, what you're great at. Like, you have to use what you have. And I've been doing this for almost 6-7 years now, showing up on YouTube, coming to Discord every single day. For 6 straight years, I come to Discord every day. I answer every question that people have. I make content, I create resources. I have to utilize that. I can't just ignore that, right? Content is a long-term game, but here's the thing, let me end on this. 6-7 years ago, I made a commitment to this, that I was going to become a successful digital marketer, whatever that meant. I was all in on it, no alternatives. I'm not doing high ticket closing. I'm not doing drop shipping or e-commerce shops. And back then it was like, oh, be a copywriter, be a media buyer, specialize in Google ads, SEO. I was like, I'm more of a generalist kind of guy. I like to do everything. I'm a strategy guy. I like to stay organized and help people and solve difficult problems. And I just kept doing that. And I ended up making like 6, 7, 8 online courses. I developed 2 intensive 12-week trainings that I would take people with. They would help them skill up and start their business. And I was doing that because I was doing that for myself. I just documented what I was doing every step of the way, and you should be doing that too. Right now, I'm getting really good at Claude Code. I am documenting everything I'm doing, and it's a mini course for anyone who wants to build an app tomorrow. You can just follow it and do it. That's called leveraging, and it's called creating, well, moderately evergreen content. And it's about doing things that are scalable. It's about not just doing one-to-one, but one-to-many. You want to start adopting these ideas. But if you don't have any skills, none of that matters. First, I skilled up, but I was skilling up since 1999. Like, let me lay it out for you. I was skilling up since 1990. When I was 6 years old, when I was 8 years old, my parents had this camera with big tapes. And I would film my dad and my mom at the kitchen table talking. And I would go behind my dad, press stop. And then I would go behind my mom, I press stop. I was editing in the tape, and I would make a little scene with them. When I was 16 or 15, my dad had the luxury of buying one of the first Sony digital cameras. It had a 3.5-inch mini floppy that you used. It was like 4 megabytes, 6 megabytes, whatever. I was the first one using digital photography. When I was 17 years old, I bought a Canon DSLR. It was expensive, but I would go to my sister's horseback riding events and take picture of her and all these other people, and I would bring a printer and I would sell them photos for $20 a photo. They loved it. When I was in high school, I was making documentaries. When I was in my first post-secondary, I did a 2-year training in how to make great videos, and I was the top student. They were teaching us how to run the news, film the news, shoot the news, produce the news, edit, capture, everything, lighting setups. I wrote and directed 2 films. I was the only person in my class to do that out of like 60 people. I was the top student by far, in my opinion. I'm sure 2 or 3 other students can argue about it. I was the first one at school and the last one to leave. I started a YouTube channel I started making videos online before YouTube. I would put my videos on the internet using Micromedia Flash. It was a Flash player. It was very difficult. You could only put like 30 seconds, 60 seconds. I started a show with this girl. We had a show, and we tried to make like interviews. We had no money. We just did what we could. I still had my camera from the prior years, and I was making things. I was blogging in 2002 and 2005. I did bad things. I was like streaming music on GeoCities and trying to give people MP3s. I was learning about digital products when I was 20 years old. Then I didn't know what to do with my life because I wasn't making any money because no one knew about the internet still. No one knew about making videos. Nobody was paying for that. So I went back to school and I didn't like it, but I felt like I had to. And I went to law school. But every day that I was in law school, I was learning about YouTube, learning about SEO, learning about this and that. I was reading the forums, Warrior Forum, Black Hat World, Reddit. I was reading every single post every day before social media. I started my YouTube channel in 2012. I moved to Hong Kong to graduate from law school there. It is all in my book. Get my book, The OPMA Blueprint. And this is actually more detailed than my book. I got my first SEO consulting client in 2013. I got paid like $1,200 to teach someone about SEO. Then Instagram came out. I started putting out little weird videos and posts. They weren't even videos, really. I mean, there was probably some, but I would like say, here's how to make an Instagram post with a filter. So I connected the dots that if I stay up to date, I can help people catch up. And I'm still doing that today. I just stay at the bleeding edge and I help people catch up. Whether you're my client who's just learning how to do a webinar today, who's just learning how to use AI content today, who's just learning how to do SEO, like I'm helping them catch up. That's what services is. But I apply myself one-to-one for a very expensive amount. I apply myself one-to-many for free or very small amount. That's what we were talking about. B2B, expensive. B2C, low cost. I accept the fact that I can have a great life with 100 people paying me $100 a month. And I can also have a great life of 3 people paying me $5,000 a month. I try to do both. And along the way, I keep skilling up, writing, creating. If I wrote an ebook, it wouldn't be written with AI, because that's where you really want to make a difference. You really want to speak to people. You want to connect. But if I'm creating some sort of top of funnel video, or I'm writing a newsletter that just needs formatting, I can do that in 3 minutes instead of 30 minutes now. So I've been skilling up for a long time. This was my point ultimately. And I committed a long time ago to do this. And that's all I do. It evolves. What I was doing 10 years ago is different than I was doing 5 years ago, is different what I was doing today, but it's all the exact same world. It's the digital technology world in media. And media is the medium for promoting yourself. It used to be billboards, it used to be newspapers, it used to be TV ads, it used to be magazines, flyers, direct mail, cold call. Now it's internet, social media, Google, and now we have things like ads inside of AI recommendations. It's changing. But the average person doesn't like to change. I love change. I expect change. I'm always okay with being a beginner. And that allows me to continuously learn and be on top of things and not say, oh, this social media thing is so lame. Oh, this is dumb. It will never be like TikTok. It'll never, this YouTube thing is just for kids. There's a lot of people who thought like that. What are they doing now? You know, and the funny thing is, at the end of the day, they all come around. They eventually say, wow, I was wrong. I better learn this now. And so people right now are entering a crisis. Not only do they not know AI, they didn't even learn social media. Like, they only know how to consume. They don't know how to produce. They know how to Google things. They don't know how to get ranked in Google. And if you flip it, if you produce, if you rank, if you deliver, you become the 1 to 5 to 10% of people who reap the benefit of this technological evolution. And that's what you should be thinking about. And we're just entering a new phase. The problem is, like I said on last week's show, we've entered an exponential change. Things are changing too fast. It's very difficult. Before, 10 years ago, you could just kind of go slow, take your time, learn when you feel like learning. Right now, you got to be really on your toes with high awareness. You got to focus. You got to take action. You got to be careful what you're doing. You got to take a look at how much time you have. You got to take a look at how much all these amazing digital entertainments have taken from you and your attention span. Join me next Monday, 8:15 Pacific, 11:15 Eastern, 1:15 Paraguay time. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's been another great stream. I really enjoy being here with you. Have a great week. Have a strong week. Take action. Do your best. I'll be back here next week.